You're welcome to this deep dive into one of the most life-changing personal finance books ever written, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, by Robert Kiyosaki. In the next 20 minutes, you'll discover the key lessons that have helped millions around the world reshape their understanding of money, wealth, and success. Whether you're just starting out or looking to level up your financial game, this message will challenge the way you think and possibly change your life. Let's begin. Robert Kiyosaki grew up with two father figures. One was his real dad, a highly educated man who worked as a government official. He believed in traditional values like getting good grades, working hard, and climbing the career ladder. Despite his education and stable job, he always seemed to struggle financially. The other father was the dad of Robert's best friend. This man had very little formal education, but was incredibly wealthy and financially savvy. He owned multiple businesses and believed in the power of financial education, not academic degrees. Robert calls them his poor dad and his rich dad. Now, both men were intelligent and successful in their own ways, but their attitudes toward money were worlds apart. Poor dad would say things like, "We can't afford it," while rich dad would say, "How can we afford it?" One believed in saving, the other believed in investing. One feared taking risks, the other embraced them. Robert spent his childhood learning from both and eventually adopted the mindset of his rich dad. So what did Rich Dad teach him? First, the rich don't work for money. That's the most important lesson in the entire book. Most people spend their lives working for a paycheck, trading hours for income, and hoping for a raise. But the rich learn how to make money work for them. They build assets, they invest, they create systems that generate income even while they sleep. Poor dad believed in job security. Rich dad believed in financial freedom. One said, "Go to school, get a degree, and find a good job." The other said, "Learn how money works and become your own boss." So what exactly makes someone rich? It's not how much you earn, it's how much you keep. And more importantly, it's what you do with it. This leads to one of the book's core ideas, understanding the difference between assets and liabilities. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket, like rental property, stocks, a business, or even a book you wrote that earns royalties. A liability, on the other hand, takes money out of your pocket, like your car loan, credit card debt, or a house that you live in but doesn't earn income. Poor people buy liabilities and think they're assets. The rich accumulate assets. That's the game changer. Schools don't teach this. Most people don't learn this until it's too late. And that's why financial literacy is so important. It's not just about making money, it's about understanding how to manage, grow, and protect it. Another major lesson is to mind your own business. Even if you have a job, you should always be building something on the side. A business, a portfolio, a product, anything that can grow into an asset. Don't just work to make your boss rich, work to make yourself financially independent. Also, Rich Dad taught Robert that the wealthy play the game of money using corporations and legal entities. Why? Because corporations offer advantages like tax benefits, expense deductions, and liability protection. While employees pay taxes before they spend, business owners and investors often spend before they pay taxes. It's legal, it's smart, and it's one of the biggest differences between the rich and everyone else. But here's the thing. Even with all the knowledge in the world, emotions can still hold people back. Fear is the biggest obstacle. Fear of losing money, fear of taking risks, fear of looking foolish. Rich Dad said, it's not about avoiding fear, it's about learning to manage it. Then there's laziness, disguised as busyness. People say they don't have time to learn about investing or building a business, but they spend hours watching TV or scrolling their phones. Rich Dad believed in paying yourself first. Invest in your mind, your future, and your freedom. Another problem is arrogance. When people think they already know enough, they stop growing. The rich stay curious, they stay students. They surround themselves with smarter people and never stop learning. Now here's a golden lesson. Work to learn, not just to earn. Robert once worked for free at Rich Dad's convenience store. Why? to observe, to ask questions, to understand how a business works. That experience taught him more than any paid job ever could. He later took jobs in sales and marketing, not for the money, but to build valuable skills, skills that would serve him as an entrepreneur. Because when you know how to sell, how to lead, how to manage finances, you become unstoppable. Eventually, Robert introduces a concept that he later expanded in another book, the cash flow quadrant. This breaks down income earners into 4 types. E stands for employees who work for others. S stands for self-employed, who work for themselves. B stands for business owners, who own systems and people that work for them. And I stands for investors, who let their money work for them. The goal is to move from the left side of the quadrant, employee and self-employed, to the right side, business owner and investor. Because true freedom comes when your time is no longer tied to your income. In conclusion, Rich Dad, Poor Dad isn't just about money, it's about mindset. It's about reprogramming how you think about work, education, success, and freedom. It challenges what we were taught in school and what society expects from us. It teaches that wealth isn't reserved for a lucky few. It's available to anyone willing to learn, act, and grow. So here's what you can do today. Start reading about personal finance. Track your expenses, build an emergency fund. Look for ways to create passive income. Buy your first asset, even if it's small. And most importantly, never stop learning. Remember, it's not how much money you make, it's how much you keep and how smart you are with it. Thank you for listening. If you found this helpful, consider sharing it with someone you care about, because when you change your mindset, you change your life. Keep growing, keep investing in yourself, and always make money work for you, not the other way around.